Hey everyone, I'm Ben Stewart, founder and CEO of Stewart Nutrition. So in today's video, I want to walk through the frequently asked questions that we get as a contract manufacturer from brands and founders about stick packs, launching stick packs. What are the different challenges that you guys see, the confusion, and there's a few different things that I kind of addressed here, but I just want to go through what are the top questions that we get as a manufacturer and try to answer that in as simple as possible format. And you want to make sure to stick around for the last question, which is one of the most surprising and challenging aspects to launching a stick pack product. Question number one, what is the minimum order quantity for stick packs? A lot of times contract manufacturers in stick packs, they'll use a range of different machines, but most contract manufacturers like Stewart Nutrition, we leverage multi-lane stick pack machines, which requires a much higher minimum order quantity than what you might be used to seeing with your manufacturers if you're producing, let's say, like a canister of pre-workout or some other capsules or some other kind of format like that. Why is that? Because we are using 10-lane machines, the setup time to produce on those machines is much more significant than it would be another type of product or another type of machine. The advantage of a stick pack is that because we can run 10 lanes at a time, or 5 lanes depending on whatever your manufacturer has, it allows us to drive the cost per unit down on producing these so much, which is why consumers love them. It's why brands often are able to sell them at a lower price point and so much more. But you can find manufacturers that'll do as low as 20,000 units, but they might be using a single lane Chinese machine, which is not bad. It's just there's a lot of manufacturers that use them. In fact, at Stewart Nutrition, we have a couple of them just for R&D use because we have some brands that want to do a small run, and if we're aligned with them and we believe they can grow, we'll allocate that capacity to them. But the one challenge that I see brands face all the time is they have a great marketing plan. They're really dialed in on how to drive traffic to their page, and they have a good product. They launch with a manufacturer who develops a formula for them on a single lane machine. They start selling really well, they outgrow them, and then they're kind of caught in a tough place because their manufacturer can't scale with them. And that's where you as a brand have to be really discerning. Is the minimum order quantity that I'm getting going to be a scalable partnership beyond that first order? So that's really important. So the second question, what is the cost per unit? Now, this is, unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to answer this exactly for you. There's a lot of different variables, but I want to give you guys a range, and I'm hopeful it's a helpful range in some sense. So costs are going to vary, especially at lower volumes. If you're first starting out, you just cannot expect that you're going to get the best possible pricing from your manufacturer. Your manufacturer is likely not making money on your order if you're only ordering 20 to 50,000 stick packs, and you're probably not making money either because you're just trying to prove the concept. So you just have to have that understanding. But costs for 50,000 stick packs at that range, it's typically between anywhere from as low as 15 cents all the way up to 50 cents per stick. Why that wide of a range? You have powder flowability, what's your fill weight, what type of product do you have, is it difficult to run on the machine? Oftentimes film, the price for actually purchasing your printed film can be very expensive at lower quantities, and your manufacturer is also going to have a very high scrap rate into a smaller run size, so they have to price all of that in to those smaller run sizes. And that's why you as a brand, you might be a little bit sticker shocked when you get a price quote for a very high price at a low volume. And it's where it's really important for you to ask your manufacturer for different tiers of price quotes so you can understand, hey, I'm not going to make money at this right away, but where can this get to, and is it eventually going to hit my target cost as your concept proves itself and you're able to build with volume. And as always, if you ever need a real quote, please reach out to us at stewartnutrition.com. We'd love to look at your project and see if it's a fit for us, and give you a more precise proposal on what that actually looks like. All right, question number 3, what materials are used in stick pack packaging? Now, this is kind of a loaded question because a lot of times, especially I would say when I first started in manufacturing stick packs, we used to get this question all the time. Do you guys have a biodegradable film, or do you have some kind of a recyclable film? Now, the main benefit with a stick pack is that you're eliminating a bunch of plastic and energy by removing the water from the beverage that you're selling. It also allows you as a brand to be able to sell it at a more profitable price than needing to get distribution and sell it in convenience stores. You can start with a much smaller quantity, right? But there's a lot of different eco advantages with film. A lot of times brands think that they can get recycled film or biodegradable film, but the challenge is most of your products you want to be moisture resistant. You're using an electrolyte with a lot of sugars or a pre-workout, and you don't want moisture getting through that package. So if you were going to use a biodegradable film, like a cardboard paper type of waxy paper that looks really nice, your stick packs would likely just turn into a rock, and no one wants that, right? It's not going to provide stability for your product or for consumers. So then the other option that I see brands will pursue is they'll use what's called post-consumer recycled film. It's essentially like a film that the manufacturer that prints the film They use it like recycled bottles for like 30% of the film. It costs a lot more, and honestly, it's kind of a joke. It just really is just a check the box marketing claim, which can be worth it to your brand, but unfortunately that's the reality of it. I hate to burst your bubble there, but that's essentially where we're at in recycled films today. The main benefit is it takes less energy and it reduces the landfill load because we're not producing so many bottles. All right, question number 4. How do I choose the right stick pack size? There's a lot of different types of sizes in stick packs. There's 23 millimeter, there's 36 millimeter, kind of like the two most common. There's also 26 millimeter, 30, 41, and just different variations in between there. A lot of people don't realize that stick pack size is really driven by the manufacturer more than it is the brand. Why is that? Because back in like the early 2000s, Crystal Light was one of the first like real stick pack brands, and they really drove a lot of the growth and the demand in the market. So everyone wanted these small, stick pack size tubes on their machine so they could run big volume products like Crystal Light. And because of that, it kind of drove like more of a standardization in the industry. But then as like the market started to grow and you started seeing more like high-end electrolytes and different products like that, you saw like Liquid IV came out with the 36 millimeter stick pack, kind of like Element. And you see some other size variations because people wanted to differentiate their brand, right? They didn't want it to look like a Crystal Light stick pack. But oftentimes a lot of brands are limited by their manufacturer's tooling. In most manufacturers, they'll have a 23 millimeter, maybe a 35 millimeter, but nothing in between there. And as the market's grown, the need to differentiate is even more. And that's why at Stewart Nutrition, we bought machines that are row-packed machines. They're built in the USA. They allow us to change to virtually any size stick pack you could ever want so that you as a brand aren't penalized by the CapEx decision that we made. But I'm gonna go through like the top sizes and kind of give you the rundown of what I would choose. So if you're using a very light fill weight stick pack, I would go with a 23 millimeter. It's really nice, it's really slender, very convenient. It's gonna be lower cost as well, especially if you're using like a drink product that you want to be at a lower price point. It uses less film. The next size up is a 26 millimeter. It's not much bigger than a 23, but it does make a noticeable difference, especially when you can display your branding if you want to have a little bit more real estate, but at that lower fill weight range. A 30 millimeter is honestly like one of the more unique stick packs that I've seen. It's something a size that we can run, but just not many brands do it. It's just kind of an odd size in between the most common, which is 23 and 35. 35 is great for if you have a bulkier or heavier fill. For like a larger stick pack, you really want a nice wide print for your branding, and just it gives you more real estate. Now 41 millimeter stick packs, those are oftentimes I'll see people either using a lighter amount of protein in a stick pack like that, or they're using like a carb product for endurance athletes where they need to load a lot of sugar and a lot of different carb sources in that stick pack. So before choosing your stick pack size, it's important to ask a question. What's your fill weight? What's the serving weight? How do I want this to feel in the customer's hand? Will this scale into retail cartons and e-commerce kits? That's a really important aspect that you really need to consider. What's your plan on selling this? Do you want to get into retail? What's your shelf space going to look like if you choose a larger stick pack, and so on and so forth? Size does affect cost, perception, and logistics. So you need to choose intentionally what matters most to you. All right, last but not least, this is honestly one of the most important questions that a brand needs to ask, is what is the typical lead time for producing a stick pack order? Stick pack production can take anywhere from a 2-week time frame if all of your materials, your printed packaging, and items are ready to ship, which is honestly very little that's the case, especially if you're new into this, to as long as 12 weeks if you're at the very beginning stage of developing your formula, developing your product. Why such a big gap from 2 weeks to 12 weeks? I'm gonna dive into it here. So often brands, they don't have their artwork ready and updated on their manufacturer's machine format, because every machine has a very specific requirement for like how the film is printed so it can run on the machine. There's oftentimes modifications to the artwork that needs to be made. Even if you've currently produced the product somewhere else, you may have to adjust it at your new manufacturer. And if you've never launched the product before, you're gonna need to start from scratch with your artwork. That's honestly one of the longest phases to developing the lead time. Number 2, if you're using a custom flavor, that can take 6 to 8 weeks just to get the flavor produced and shipped to your manufacturer. So flavor is super important, but if you're starting out with a brand new flavor, you gotta have that understanding that the flavor house has to make that flavor just for you. Number 3, oftentimes other raw materials and printed packaging can also have a longer lead time. It's not just your manufacturer's lead time that you're worried about, it's all the suppliers that lead into that. Which is why those 3 main factors actually contribute to the longer lead time. And it's really kind of surprising, a lot of brands don't understand that the manufacturer lead time alone is actually not that long. For them to blend, package, and quality test your materials is gonna be one of the shortest phases of that entire lead time. So first time projects, you need to build in a buffer especially if you don't have your packaging or your flavors picked out yet. You got to understand that your manufacturer can't get started until they have materials, and they can't even order the materials until you have that established. That's why you'll want to work with someone as early as possible in the process. One thing that's important to know is that if you develop your formula with your manufacturer, like we would here at Stewart, we'll use flavor houses that we already have good lead times with, or materials that we already have in stock and in-house, which reduces the risk of you having a very long launch timeline. But even for the first order, I think it's wise just to budget 8 to 12 weeks, because there's a lot of different decisions you need to make, and you want to make them with the right amount of time so that you can launch this product successfully. Subsequent orders after that can be turned around so much faster because we already have that artwork finalized. A lot of those beginning onboarding steps are accomplished. But if you want speed, engage your manufacturer early, align on materials, plan ahead, and build margin into your schedule. And here's the principle. Stick packs are one of the fastest growing formats in supplements. They look premium, they travel well, they scale amazing. But if they do require operational discipline. If you're building something serious, ask these questions early, not after you've already designed your packaging. If you need help with launching your new product in a stick pack, please like, subscribe, and reach out to us at stewartnutrition.com.